Friends, in today's video, you're going to learn about some of the most unusual and shocking punishments given inside certain prisons around the world. These aren't the typical death sentences or old methods like public hangings or executions by beheading that you might have heard about from history. What we'll explore today are punishments so unique and severe that hearing about them will truly shake you to your core. Among these is a bizarre punishment where prisoners are forced to eat excessive amounts of burgers, but not in a way you might imagine. These punishments are so extreme that after experiencing them, prisoners reportedly lose the desire to ever commit a crime again. Why does this happen? What makes these punishments so terrifying and effective? You'll understand it fully if you stay with us through the entire video. Let's start without delay. Burdenburgger punishment, USA. In the United States, a bizarre and disgusting punishment known as the Burdenburgger is practiced in certain high-security prisons. Prisoners who display extreme violent behavior are isolated in a room and forced to eat a revolting burger made from rotten bread, dirty meat, mixed with cabbage and oats. The worst part, these burgers often contain hair, dirt, and bits of garbage. The mere sight and smell of it would make anyone nauseous. At first, prisoners refuse to touch it, but since they're given nothing else to eat, extreme hunger eventually forces them to take a bite. For 7 long days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner consist solely of these sickening burgers. By the end of the week, prisoners learn their lesson in the most revolting way possible and never again dare to show violent behavior. While this punishment is very different from the others, it's no less shocking. Flogging punishment. One of the ancient and still practiced punishments in some countries is flogging, something you might have seen in old stories or historical movies. In this punishment, the prisoner is tied up tightly with chains and wooden boards in such a way that they cannot stand up straight. Then, in front of a large public gathering, the prisoner is whipped mercilessly. The punishment begins with at least 100 lashes, often continuing until the prisoner bleeds severely. This isn't just physically painful. It also breaks the prisoner's spirit and leaves them humiliated in front of the crowd. Though many believe this kind of punishment no longer exists, it is still practiced in countries like Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Iran, and Indonesia. Sleep deprivation. Now let's talk about a punishment even more disturbing. Sleep deprivation. This form of torture is reportedly common in countries like Russia, China, and Pakistan. In this cruel punishment, a prisoner is kept awake for several days at a time. If the prisoner tries to close their eyes or fall asleep, prison guards immediately shine an intense, blinding light into their eyes, forcing them to stay awake. In some cases, guards scream loudly or splash water on the prisoner's face to keep them from sleeping. This continues for so long that prisoners start breaking down mentally and emotionally. The psychological impact of this is devastating. Not only are convicted prisoners subjected to this inhuman treatment, but even suspects undergoing interrogation often face similar torture. The purpose of this is to mentally exhaust them to the point where they confess everything, whether true or false, just to escape the torment. Some prisoners become so mentally unstable from sleep deprivation that they lose their sanity completely, harming themselves by banging their heads against the wall in desperation. This method is so cruel that prisoners reportedly begin begging for sleep, seeing it as a greater relief than freedom itself. In many prisons around the world, there are horrifying punishments given to prisoners, some of which force them to confess to crimes they never actually committed. Among the most infamous for this is Pakistan, where prisoners are often tortured into admitting offenses they had no part in. Rat cell punishment. One particularly disturbing punishment is called the rat cell punishment. As we all know, rats are one of the most feared and unsettling creatures to most people. Now imagine being locked up in a small dark cell filled with starving rats, having to sit, eat, and sleep surrounded by them every moment of the day. In places like Cambodia, prisoners who commit certain crimes are thrown into these rat-infested cells where the rats are left hungry on purpose. The desperate, starving rats attack, scratch, and bite at the prisoners, sometimes even starting to eat their flesh slowly when they can no longer hold back their hunger. As a result, prisoners often develop terrible infections and life-threatening diseases. The most dangerous prisoners are tied up tightly by their hands and feet, left in a dark corner of these filthy cells so they cannot move or run. There's no bed for them to sleep on. They are forced to lie down directly on the cold, dirty floor, crawling with rats. Just imagine yourself in their place. It's a terrifying thought that's hard to even visualize. How would you feel if you were trapped like that? Let us know in the comments. Tiger chair punishment. Then there's the notorious tiger chair punishment, considered one of the cruelest punishments in the world. This method is mostly used in Chinese prisons for those accused of minor crimes. In this punishment, the prisoner is forced to sit on a steel chair with every part of their body, from head to toe, tightly strapped down so they cannot move even an inch. The prisoner remains trapped in this position not for hours, but for days, sometimes up to 1 or 2 weeks. During this time, they are fed, forced to relieve themselves, and made to endure extreme discomfort, all while being restrained in that same position. This results in terrible muscle and nerve damage. Many prisoners lose the ability to stand or move after being released from the chair. Prolonged exposure like this often leads to mental breakdowns and long-term physical disabilities. Extreme temperature torture. Another shocking form of punishment is extreme temperature torture. The human body is naturally designed to survive within a safe temperature range. Too much heat or cold can be fatal. In countries like the United States, Russia, and Egypt, there are prisons known for using temperature as a form of punishment. In some prisons, temperatures inside the cells are deliberately increased to unbearable levels using built-in heaters. These small enclosed spaces turn into suffocating ovens, and prisoners feel as though their skin is on fire. There's no fan, no light, and the only water they're given to drink is boiling hot. On the other hand, in the freezing prisons of Siberia, where temperatures can drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius, prisoners are punished by being forced to stand outside without any proper clothing. No jackets, no shoes. The intense cold causes their bodies to freeze and shrink painfully, leaving them unable to walk or move. Many prisoners fall dangerously ill or lose parts of their extremities to frostbite. The cruelty of these punishments leaves lasting scars, both physically and mentally, showing just how terrifying life behind bars can be in some parts of the world. Spice punishment. In this world, there's hardly anyone who doesn't enjoy a bit of spice in their food. In fact, surveys show that about 90% of people worldwide prefer spicy dishes. But what if spice turned from pleasure to punishment? In one prison in India, inmates are subjected to what's called spice punishment. Here, prisoners are forced to eat raw green chilies as part of their daily meals. Not only that, every dish they're served is overloaded with excessive chilies. The food isn't even properly cooked. It's prepared carelessly, with raw spices that burn the mouth and throat. From morning till night, this is all the prisoners are given to eat. And if any prisoner refuses to eat this painfully spicy food, they're beaten and forced to swallow it. Prison guards treat them like wild animals, depriving them of proper meals and giving them nothing but chilies. The spice burns through their mouths, noses, and even makes their entire bodies feel like they're on fire. Worse still, when prisoners beg for water, they are denied even a single drop, forced to endure the torment in silence. Can you imagine a punishment more brutal than this? Standing cell punishment. Next, let's move to China, where a horrifying practice called the standing cell punishment takes place. Here, a tiny cupboard-sized cell is built, barely 2 feet wide, and tall enough that a prisoner can neither properly stand nor sit. Once locked inside, inmates remain in an awkward, cramped, bent position for days. There's no light in these cells, and because of the tiny space, prisoners experience intense pain in their backs, knees, and elbows. Blood circulation is cut off, their bodies cramp, and severe injuries often occur. Stuck in this unbearable state, prisoners begin to lose their sanity, unable to think of anything else but their pain. So friends, these were some of the world's strangest, harshest, and most inhumane prison punishments. Which one did you find the most terrifying? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching.